The clock that stopped ticking in the heart of a small town, tucked between a bakery that smelled of fresh bread and a bookstore filled with dusty treasures, stood a little clock shop. The shop was run by an old man named Mr. Rafiq, who was known as the best clockmaker in town. His windows sparkled with clocks of every kind: grandfather clocks that reached the ceiling, cuckoo clocks with tiny birds ready to sing, and delicate pocket watches that shone like gold coins. But among all the clocks, one was very special. It was an old wooden wall clock, carved with vines and flowers, and it hung proudly above the counter. People called it the heart clock because its ticking seemed to comfort anyone who walked inside. Every morning, children passing by on their way to school would stop just to hear the steady tick-tock, tick-tock echo through the shop. The sound reminded them of a heartbeat steady, warm, and alive. One evening, however, something strange happened. Just as the sun set and Mr. Rafiq was about to close his shop, the heart clock gave a loud click. And then silence. The ticking had stopped. Mr. Rafiq frowned and tapped the clock gently. "Oh dear," he whispered. "What's wrong, old friend?" But no matter what he tried, the heart clock refused to tick again. The news spread quickly. The next morning, children pressed their noses to the window, listening, hoping to hear the familiar sound. But there was only silence. The bakery's warm smell and the bookstore's charm could not fill the emptiness left by the missing tick. The whole street felt quieter, lonelier. That night, as the town slept, something magical happened. Inside the clock shop, the heart clock sighed. "I'm tired," it whispered to the other clocks. "I have ticked and talked for so many years. I wonder if anyone really needs me anymore." The other clocks gasped. "Of course they need you," cried a little silver pocket watch. "You are the first sound children here on their way to school. You key the town's rhythm," added a grandfather clock in a deep, booming voice. "Without you, everything feels still." But the heart clock was unconvinced. "Maybe my time is over," it murmured. The next morning, a little girl named Aisha entered the shop. She loved the heart clock more than any other. Standing on tiptoe, she whispered to it, "Please, don't be quiet. When you tick, I feel safe. When I study, it keeps me company. You're not just a clock, you're my friend." Though the heart clock could not reply, deep inside, it felt something stir. Mr. Rafiq worked tirelessly for days, polishing gears, fixing springs, even whispering encouraging words to his beloved clock. "You've kept time for generations," he said. "Don't give up now." But still, the silence continued. Then came a stormy night. Rain pounded the windows. Thunder rolled across the sky, and the lights in the town flickered out. In the darkness, children grew frightened. Aisha held her little brother close and whispered, "If only the heart clock were ticking, we wouldn't feel so afraid." At that very moment, as if it had heard her, something miraculous happened. The heart clock's hands shivered, the gears trembled, and then tick-tock, tick-tock. The sound filled the shop, echoed through the street, and spread across the town like a warm blanket. Families smiled, children sighed with relief, and even the thunder seemed less frightening. The heart clock had found its strength again. The next morning, when the sun rose, the townspeople gathered outside the shop, listening joyfully. Mr. Rafiq wiped tears from his eyes. "You see," he whispered to the clock, "you were never just telling time, you were giving hope." From that day forward, the heart clock never doubted its worth again. It ticked with pride, reminding everyone who heard it that even the simplest things can bring comfort and courage when they are needed most. And so, the little shop with the ticking clock became not just a place for fixing time, but for mending hearts. Moral of the story: sometimes we may feel tired, forgotten, or unimportant, but even the smallest things we do, like kindness, love, or simply being present, can make a big difference in someone else's life.